The second bit of that did not go well. And again, we're talking about a lot about Millennium's mistakes, but there is a clear level up from the Copenhagen Wolves, from what we saw in the regular split. And I don't want to lose sight of how well Copenhagen Wolves are playing in this series, because it's one thing to get a lead from a jungle matchup, by the way, which Nidalee normally we've seen does a lot of farming and then counter jungling, not fighting you at all points in the game. But Ku then goes, okay, well, we've got that, so that gives us pressure in the bottom lane to take the turret. Well, we can then get top lane from the same thing. And just really expanded on the lead that they had very well. So well in that game.
I mean, there was a phase in the game where Ku went from bot lane all the way to top lane, fought him all the way, and it's just like you have ultimate pressure through the entire map. Like, you know the enemy jungler's not going to be like ganking a lane because Ku's on top of him for like 5-6 minutes. So we have some bans coming out with basically the same as the last couple of games. Spoke about the Twisted Fate last time. Was an interesting ban, but this time it's coming out from Millennium up against Kdraw. He played it in game 1. There was also respect from Kdraw the other way, stopping it from going too pretty. And then the rest is fairly obvious. I
like the Nidalee ban. We've not seen Joker want it. He's been like, Nidalee's available, we could first pick it. Nope, don't.
But they never really put priority on jungle for Millennium.
That is true. Joker has been more typically a Rek'Sai, Gragas. We saw the Kindred out of him. It did not go amazingly well in that composition, but... Okay, we're working through the picks and bans.
Alright, first pick, Corki. That will net through the Poppy. Personally, I feel like Poppy is being such a problem for Millennium in both games. Like, it's something that Kaze does really well on. Wicked, in terms of like top lane picks, Poppy's probably been the pick for him because, as you mentioned, we actually spoke about this at the start of the day. Compared to the other top lane picks like Fiora, where there's a lot of decision making, whether I should go in, and you get punished very hard for making a mistake. Poppy goes in, makes a mistake. Oh, I lost 30% of my health. It's fine. And Wicked can play a little bit more ballsy in these team fights, and has been doing that and performing exceptionally well. I feel like that should have been like a contested pick or something that's banned away. Now you have to ban away the Nidalee because of Ku. I'm going on the rant here because I feel very passionately about it.
But it's a fair rant.
Yeah, but we have more picks coming through here. Morgana will also be picked up for Nukes a lot, so denying that away from Masterwork. He'll go back onto Thresh and try and make some more plays in the bottom lane. Joko back on Rek'Sai. Nothing really to add there. You just spoke about his champion pool.
Aside from the Kindred, this is reminiscent of the first game where we had Corki for Millennium, we had Thresh for Millennium, and you know, we looked at it and we were like, okay, well, apart from how much damage they've got, maybe this seems kind of standard, especially for Masterwork. Like you saw at the very beginning of the show in our kind of highlight video, the plays we've seen from Masterwork on Thresh didn't really show it game 1. He was pretty aggressive. He caught Pinoy under the tower, which was great. That was Pinoy making more of a mistake than anything. So is that the basis now that Millennium need? Whoa, that got locked in incredibly quickly. Hans Sama on his, I guess, signature pick?
I guess so. I don't know if we caught, I think we caught like a pocket pick.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I guess he doesn't always play it.
Because like Freeze would be like, you know, that is signature pick.
That's true.
Shen also picked up. That will be going top lane, I assume, unless it's top lane Thresh, and no. So I'll be talking a bunch about that. But yeah, Draven on Hans Sama. So in my mind, Draven Hans Sama was just like, we've won this series. Let's go.
At the time, it was.
Yeah. They are putting a lot of faith in this because they are back up against the wall and they're like, okay, we're going to use the Draven to claw back out. And like when Werlob was like a game down, he was just like, bust out the Jax, let's go 1v9. I believed him. But going with like a Draven pick here, just based on the track record from what we've seen, I don't know how I feel about it. It can go huge, it can do really well. I'm skeptical.
Once again, though, welcome to the League of Draven. In this situation. We've got Lissandra on the other side. Kind of does well dealing with the Draven before Draven gets QSS.
Yes,
because it's just like, oh, you want to walk forward and deal damage here. Alt in place. Goodbye. That tends to be what happens. I'm excited to see a Draven, but Thresh Draven in a 2 vs 2 laning phase setup. If you trade early and trade often, tends to chunk people through.
Yes. With
those axes, so that's possible. That's a possibility, and it's possible.
Is it possible though? Yeah, but I gotta look at the itemization because there's been lots of interesting itemization pickups by Draven. You're pointing your finger at me.
I am, because remember last time we had Hans Sama on Draven, it was the giant cash-in. The Draven actually had no effect. The game was all on Pretty.
They actually 4v5 that game.
Yeah,
like,
they
he just spent the
did.
entire game farming.
They can't 4v5 this, so maybe hashtag, what was it, 1788 the dream?
Something like that, yeah.
That was the cash-in that he got, 1788. Well, perhaps for the last time, it is series point. Going into game 3, there's your team compositions. Hashtag MIL win, hashtag CW win. I expect it's a lot less than 91% Millennium right now after these first 2 games.
I thought we would be a game point or match point after 2 games. I didn't think it would be for Copenhagen Wolves. And
yeah, if you'd have asked me.
Yeah. Copenhagen Wolves have earned it, though, over these last 2 games. Absolutely. Millennium definitely not been firing on all cylinders, but Copenhagen Wolves definitely a difference. Oh, this is not going to be a good start to the game.
Hans Sama.
He's dead. He's actually just dead. Oh, heal, and Pretty's there. Good stand aside. They'll be burning a couple flashes.
Dodge.
Now Joko is coming out, and Masterwork is there to save him. How many summons did he burn?
2 for 2.
Both on Draven.
No, 2 for 1. 2 for 2. Flash from Kadril was used.
And Exhaust, okay.
And Exhaust. Yeah, okay.
That could have gone worse.
It could have gone worse, but Draven now with no pot in lane.
No pot, no summoners.
And he had to run to lane missing some health, which is not too bad. He will passively regen it up, plus the Doran's blade. It does reduce the trading potential now early. Is if Hans Sama and Masterwork, well, they're never going to find an all-in now with no heal, no flash. This now neutralizes the early pressure because you cannot afford to trade. This ward as well now allows Pinoy to come up. That tells us we're in a lane swap. Normally it's the support that does this. Pinoy is trying to be very annoying.
Yeah, Pinoy feels like he can do a little bit more. Nukeslot was around the mid lane as well. Maybe he's looking for a early gank, something like that. So we do have this lane swap going on, so the double jungle is in full effect. Pinoy go back up to top lane and even catches the wave. All nicely lined up for a perfect queue.
The one thing is, though, now that we're in lane swap, I was kind of a little blinded talking about how bad this could potentially have been for Hans Sama. The summoners shouldn't really get punished here, being down, so it's just a matter of time before that comes up. Same with the health pot. Not really a big factor right now. If we were in a 2v2, absolutely it's a big factor. Basically lane winning, but not so much.
Not so much anymore. That was instigated by Copenhagen Wolves, so they still didn't want to be in that 2v2. Interesting. Because Kaze clears the jungle pretty fast, because his Q does extra damage to jungle camps, to monsters, and he can now taunt the jungle camps. So you actually cleared the jungle in double jungle scenarios pretty well. But he'll go into the bottom lane. It should give them maybe like a couple extra seconds compared to top lane for the own push for Copenhagen Wolves. Not really sure if it's going to result in too much momentum gained. Not really. I think it's going to drop at the same time.
Yeah, roughly. I was not expecting to be in this kind of situation where Millennium now have to reverse sweep. I didn't think I'd have to say those words. I'm saying them. And right now, Millennium, they're not showing us anything to give any reason to doubt this in this game. But there's this feeling just in the back of my mind that's like they have not been looking good in either game so far. What is going to change that? They have to have had something drastic happen between last game and this game to settle themselves.
So Masterwork just took gold from that.
Yes,
so Kaze is not going to get all of that there. The Shen Poppy matchup shouldn't be that good for Shen, but then we saw Morsu get taunted like 17 times, and then
that was because he was reluctant to steadfast presence. Nice by Kadril, gets the initial trade, but into Gatling Gun. Good luck against Thunderlords. I mean, if it was Grasp of the Undying, maybe you'd have a little bit more luck. But
yeah. Joker's now in the enemy jungle.
Good
Whoa,
binding.
that binding from Sir Nukesalot. The reads actually from the tunnels, but there's so much set up. The double reads. Joker will flash away, but unfortunately, you can go underground, you can stick your head in the sand, but you're still gonna die.
What is what is Joko doing that far pushed up? After phase one of the lane swap is complete. Poppy had shown in the top side. I am really confused at Joko. Joko has, in this game, had no early game presence when Ku has had all of it. In all 3 games in this series.
I just don't know what to feel anymore. Like, in this final game, I was expecting Millennium to play it calculated and smart, but now more pressure being exerted by Ku, this time on Elise. Look at him, he's just in the jungle of Joko. Like, Joko has to be cautious moving from camp to camp. Like, because there could be an Elise there, he could just kill me. Like, he just has to play this so cautiously. And now Hansammer in the bottom lane is under a lot of pressure. We'll get a slight CS lead from this one. But it's all on him not dying early. He has to get this cash in to really start snowballing in this game, because as soon as you halve those stacks, like, you put Millennium back a couple minutes just on that alone.
Gotta keep an eye on that. I'm gonna keep tracking the stack counter.
I mean, it's actually important for this game, like, extremely important that he gets a good cash in.
Yeah, it is. And if he ends up dying, that would really mess that up for him. But still being a bit of a slow start for Hansammer, at least. Yeah. Now he's getting out-traded, though. Again, just time and time again. Nearly hits. Sir Nuxalot has been showing us a lot more than just his trundle now. And has been looking pretty good on it.
He's opens up his champion pool. You know, if you swap the name tags around, like, usually the pressure that we see being put out by Masaryk and Hansammer is like what Pinoy and Nuxalot are doing right now. Like, landing binding after binding, punish after punish, perfect black shield.
Falling apart.
Masterwork just, I don't even know what that was. Like, he knew black shield was there and flayed anyway.
It's there. You know that black shield is going to be on Pinoy. If it hasn't been used.
We've seen Tristana rocket jump predicts. Like, we've seen crazy stuff from Masterwork, but I feel like this is a team on tilt.
Yeah, what is happening with Millennium right now? Because there's just mechanical misplays even at the same time. Hansammer, like, going forward. Why is he going forward? Like,
now Ku comes out, Exhaust comes in, and there's a flash. Cocoon, Venomous Bite, should be able to finish him off. He's still alive. Cagel's there for the finish off there with a Ring of Frost, and will jump away, pop the ultimate on himself. Torn flash onto Ku, but it's 2 versus 5. You just can't even pick up the kill there. This is complete collapse from Millennium. 2-0 now from Copenhagen Wolves. They'll pick up the bottom turret off the back of that play. A 2,000 gold advantage when this one drops.
This is a massive lead for Copenhagen Wolves right now. Joko was topside enemy jungle doing Krugs during all of this. He had access, at least recently, to his ultimate. I'm actually going to skip back on my computer and take a look. Yeah. He didn't have ultimate available for that fight. He only just got 6 off the Krug. So in fairness to Joko, he couldn't have joined that at the beginning of this fight, and it was too late by the time he had his ult. I also would be interested to go back further on my own screen and look at the pathing that Ku took. Was that, yeah, it was a teleport in from Cagel. Again, it's not keeping track of these teleports. It's quite frustrating to watch a game with a team that used to be so good at recognizing when cooldowns are available for teleports and utilizing their own, and just kind of always being better at playing as a team, fall apart against double TP.
They were always the smartest team. Like, we were looking at Millennium, and we were like, okay, what is actually making Millennium good right now? They're probably top 2 at least in all of their roles. They're mechanically pretty good. As a team, they are playing the smartest games. They are actually coming in with game plans and executing on them extremely well. And all 3 of those points I just mentioned, none of them are happening in this game. The drafts have been okay in the second 2 games, but that hasn't seemed to help.
Okay, something even bigger than that whole play. So while this was still going on, I double-checked on my monitor. Elise passed over a pink ward and was in vision coming down to the bottom lane. And of course, Millennium knew that, because that was the signal for Joko to go into the topside jungle. And Masterwork and Hansammer not only stayed, but went forward in the lane into an aggressive situation, and just were not thinking about what was coming next.
Joko's trying to be Ku and just, like, go into the jungle, take away camps, but Ku, always has this gank pressure. Like, he's sitting in top lane now, looking for another dive to happen. There's complete control over the area. I actually don't think that ward even revealed him from Masterwork because no pings went down. They don't know that Ku managed to sneak around to the backside of this one. Kadril even sneaked through. He is chased by Pretty. They're looking for this ping, but they still don't know where Lisa's there. Kadril in this one-on-one. He's dropping low. Pretty will cleanse out of the ultimate. Ku is gonna get taunted up by Kaze. This could be the first kill of the game here for Millennium. Joko now rotating from the right side flank. Can he get anything more done? Good binding by EUCS in that scenario is gonna hit someone in that bottleneck, and it was Kaze in this one.
For that fight, Pinoy couldn't come across to deal damage, and Kadril was kind of umming and ahhing about whether he actually wanted that engage, and then Pretty managed to use the package to come round into that fight. That one was a little over-aggressive from the Wolves. Millennium respond to it in time. We can take a look at the setup of this again. Pretty managing to Valkyrie just to catch up with Kadril before he chose to E over the wall. I think if Kadril E's over the wall and gets himself into that fight, this may have gone differently for the Wolves, but this time they lose Ku, but managed to get everybody else away. A lot of this is because Wicked didn't have his teleport available, so they couldn't bring the 5th member over. That is the strength of playing with a Shen, is having that double teleport. You can use the ult, use the teleport, although Shen was already there in the lane. The shield was helpful. It just means that if they end up in that situation again, it can bring him over. I believe it was Hans Sammer that was in bottom lane.
Ku, or rather Kaze, has really been starved in this game though. 41 CS versus 57 to his counterpart. He is behind in levels, behind in farm, behind in itemization. He's sitting on Balmy Cinder and is not currently able to pick up the rest of his Sunfire cape.
Oh, same play could be looking to happen again. Ku and EpicSkillshot double binds.
CC layer down. Kaze is there to try and save him, but the Black Shield are already there. Spirit's Refuge comes out, and Joko was able to get out of the repel range, so he wasn't chased down upon. EpicSkillshot is going to be backed up here, I think.
Well, Rift Herald's coming into topside now, so they've lost lost Joko in defense of that tower now as well. Does have his ultimate available, so can go into his own jungle. That is exactly where he's going. So he can now defend. Didn't get the full regen up though, so if some damage comes out, he may be forced back to base again. But it's this Rift Herald that they're just pushing up here with. Not a lot of minions though, so it's not going to result in the turret. But again, it's just all these little advantages ticking up. Also in the earlier fight, Draven died, so goodbye stacks.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
In the earlier fight, yeah. And look at the items that Draven is sat on. That is no damage.
That is no bueno. Neither is this fight really for Millennium. I can't tell if this is going to swing their way. I'm going to go with no as Kaze is forced out. Wicked jumps in, looks for the hammer shock. He'll take him down for the kill. Joko now followed up on. Double tap from Pinoy should be enough. Flash forward by Kadril. Bloodthirsty in this top lane, but they'll pick up more kills, more towers, more objectives, more gold. 5-1 in this game. Copenhagen Wolves, I was expecting a different game 3 at match point, but Copenhagen Wolves are just playing it so well.
This is 12 minutes into the game. And look at how aggressive the Wolves are going under a tier 2 tower. Kaze has no way of getting out of this alive. Wicked goes straight for him and takes him down. And I mean, there's not a lot to say for Millennium's sake here. They have fallen apart at the seams and completely just gone to pieces. This game is probably out of their reach right now. This is the Copenhagen Wolves booking their ticket back to Berlin for next week.
Yeah. They're just going to stay here. They're just going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to stay in studio, to be honest. Like, this is insane. And I'm going to revisit what we were talking about in Game 1 and what Pinoy was talking about, the experience on the team. This actually looks like Millennium straight up choking right here versus Copenhagen Wolves, who have the experience from 3 of those players. Yes, they have 2 new guys, but under their tutorage, like, this is just looking so good from Copenhagen Wolves. Like, they're keeping it together. They're performing better in this environment. And like, these games have been so short as well.
Yeah, Pulse, we went live at 6 o'clock.
Okay, what time is it now?
With the intro for our show, it is 3 minutes to 8. And we are closing in on a team booking their spot in the finals.
Insanity.
It's crazy. It's actually insane. I would love to delve deeper on, you know, the analysis, but honestly, I think we're going to run out of time before this game ends.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just because of how good Ku has been in this series, especially games 1 and 2. Very strong. The lanes for Copenhagen Wolves have been very strong as well. This bottom lane in the last game has taken Hans Sammer and Masterwork, probably the best 2v2 setup we've had over the regular split, completely to town.
Well, you talk about momentum, but Copenhagen Wolves are just running all over them. And Hans Sammer, that was just another misplay. He started recalling the axe before it even hit anyone.
Yeah, and the thing is, you look at the CS and be like, oh, well, you know, Hans Sammer, he's got extra farm. He didn't lose the lane that hard. No, that's because he was down on his own in the bottom lane. Look at what that farm so far has transitioned into in his items. He even had to opt for level 2 boots to get the attack speed plus the movement speed for himself to keep himself alive. He's got the Warhammer as well. There is no damage on Draven, a champion who relies on stacking, cashing in the stacks, and then getting full damage items to be able to take people out. And that's not what has happened in this game at all. Hans Sammer's caught again.
But my stacks... has
It's
to
a
burn
flash,
the flash,
though. Yeah. I mean, what's next? Does he buy tier 3 boots to make sure he's got better flash cooldown?
Maybe QSS, perhaps?
I mean... Yeah, if the Lissandra gets on him, at this point in the game, he's dead.
Yep.
Like, I mean, at most points that's true, but...
I'm trying to figure out what he's building, because he's building towards the Ghost Blade, yes, but then he just bought a longsword.
He's just buying anything. He's like, give me any kind of damage.
Because what you do, you build towards the spike from your Yumu's, and that's what you go for first. Then you probably go for...
I mean, you
Bloodthirster.
grab BT,
yes, BT into Bloodthirster. You usually get the lifesteal component, and that's like kind of your core. And then you just build elsewhere.
Attack speed.
You can go attack speed. You can go for like long range. You can go for rapid fire cannon. You can go for infinity edge, for example. There's loads of different routes you can go depending on the game. Rapid fire cannon, great for going for that like late game poke. You chunk someone for 800 damage is fantastic. But I don't know what the longsword's about. Like, it builds into like a lot.
It's going into something. He just needs any damage right now.
Why not finish the Yumu's? Like, I don't understand.
I guess if you didn't have the money, it's it's like his option is like, well, I'm just gonna hope I get a kill in the next fight. Hope this longsword translates into extra damage.
But it's not even. In terms of slot efficiency, like now you can't pick up a pink ward, you can't pick up pots, like.
I don't even know why Joker's trying to contest. I guess the rest of his team here, so
nice
that is a good reason.
Masterwork, and the box comes out. He'll have to flash away. First defensive flasher really seen from Ku. Masterwork will jump in. Bloodthirsty support will pick up that kill. Flash over the wall from Wicked. Lots of summoners burnt there from Millennium.
So Ku took a lot of damage from the Rift Herald, and at first I was thinking, well, Kadrill's got his teleport up. Wicked can be there as well. Kadrill doesn't teleport into that, even though I think that was a prime position for it. Wolves probably should have forced that fight with the lead that they had, but Millennium have started to come back into this game ever so slightly now with the tower going down. They've closed a bit of that gap. Here comes the teleport in from behind from Wicked. Ku is still not here for Wolves.
This is an important pivotal fight in this game. This all comes down to how Millennium player Hans Sammer has been caught out. There's the Shen ultimate used on top of him to keep him alive. The double kill comes out from Pinoy, looking for a third one. This may be his second penta of the spring split. He jumps forwards onto Pretty, double tap, the quadra kill. Meanwhile, Joko is still running away for his life. I don't think his team can set him up for it, but a quadra nonetheless. Great chase down by Copenhagen Wolves.
Oh, Joko went back farming for the Wolves. That is the quadra kill onto Pinoy, and if this game wasn't tough enough yet, that is going to really close it. It looked maybe touch and go for the Wolves as Ku wasn't available for that fight, but Joko got bound up. So at the beginning of that fight, Wolves managed to get a good teleport play on, and that was just how far ahead they were, translating into a team fight. Kadrill, I think, gets 4 people with his ult here. He comes in, gets a W on 2 into his ult, gets 3 and I think some damage onto Joko from that little exchange there, but I mean, there's no way of Hans Sammer doing anything in this fight. Regardless of staying alive, he has no damage. Millennium have only Pretty really for damage, and he couldn't turn around to deal any of it because he was getting chased. The moment he does turn around, he dies. This is a fairly desperate Rift Herald just to take it away from the Wolves.
When you're talking about desperate Rift Heralds, like that is just how dire the situation is.
I mean, that's what it is, because it now stops the Wolves from giving it to Kadrill with the teleport. I mean, there was 1 minute left on the timer, so Wolves would have had to have kind of gone up towards Rift Herald. So it was Millennium taking the play on the map that they could. but it's one of the only positives that the Wolves, that Millennium have had this game.
Copenhagen Wolves have looked really good in terms of like their map movements and the map plays they've been making. I don't know, like being an offline environment, they can just like talk to each other and yell across the room. Maybe the latency from like TeamSpeak or whatever.
Okay, we're nitpicking now, Pulse. That is very nitpicky.
But the Copenhagen Wolves, like seriously, like they've just performed so much better on this offline environment. And that's not even nitpicking. I'm not picking them apart. I'm saying how good it was.
Hansam is still top lane, and he's got 3 people with a Rift Herald pushing into the bottom lane. It's actually 4. Sorry, not Rift Herald, but...
Wicked, using the ultimate to zone away, gets a bit of time, and Pinoy just on the edge of the Shadow Dash.
This is... I mean, Hansam has to recall like right now. The Rift Herald is kind of helping out a little bit, not really in this bottom lane, because there is no defensive stats additional for it. It's just slight... Yeah, it's not helping. I was going to say slight attack speed, but they die so quick you don't even have them pushing away.
I saw you were trying really hard.
I'm trying to justify how it's helping, but it's not.
Okay, so
I'm trying to find anything from Millennium as a positive, Pulse.
They managed to repel Copenhagen Wolves very briefly because they didn't have Keeper's Verdict anymore, which was what was zoning them off initially.
But the next step here for the Wolves is control Baron. Because no way can Millennium fight you at Baron.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way. So Hansheimer pushed up, gets a turret, gives him the gold to get the Ghost Blade. So he's reached 1 item. Pinoy is currently at 2 and some bits.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Millennium, but what do they need to do from here, Stress? Like, what's the game plan? Because Copenhagen Wolves have taken so many towers, they're pushing up now to the inhibitor turrets. Yes, that should be the point. Maybe Millennium can stall them out, but so much went into this Draven pick, right? Like, he's 0, 2, and 0. He's basically lost all of the stacks.
Yeah. I'm going to double check how many
Pinoy is massive, like 504. He's also just performing out of his mind mechanically.
I think it's 290 stacks, even though it's actually 29.
So to revisit the initial question, what should Millennium do in this game to catch back up?
Honestly, it has to come from a mistake from the Wolves, by them slowing down the pace, and somehow Pretty having a team fight where he gets a lot of damage off, because Kaze's not a carry. So you're not going to rely on that. Maybe if Wolves push out with too many people, they get a catch on like 2 people, and then Millennium can, you know, shift up for a Baron.
Yeah.
It's not even like Dragon is the kind of play that they can go for. They've only got 1. That's no, this is not good.
Masterworks got the ultimate on top of him. He flashes away, so Shen will be able to arrive, but it's on top of the Black Shield.
Okay,
he comes in with a package. Nice double kill comes out. This could be a fantastic fight from Millennium to chase down the Copenhagen Wolves. There's the charger from the Keeper's Verdict, and they separate Hanshammer from his team. That was such a good Keeper's Verdict from Wicked. I cannot stress how good he is on this pick.
Yeah, he's been a lot better on Poppy, and at first I thought it was a bad fight for Millennium to try and take. They had the numbers there early, had the Shen ultimate come on, so I was mistaken at the beginning, and then Wolves teleport back in. The 2 TPs get used, and it means that even though Millennium had a good start to the fight, they couldn't finish it and end up losing 2 people from it as well. As you said, the Keeper's Verdict was so good. So at first, at this point, I'm thinking, Masterwork, you don't want that because of how close Copenhagen Wolves are in this situation. The package was picked up just as this fight kicked off, so Pretty had the additional movement speed and can get himself up to the fight with the special delivery. From there, though, in come the teleports, in comes the Keeper's Verdict. Hanshammer flashes outside of the skill shot, but gets punished for it. That flash not being available puts him in no man's land, pushed straight into the wall and dies.
So the setup to that, like, Masterwork played that well. In that situation, you have to run away so you can allow the TP to complete from Shen so he can re-engage. But that was read by Nukes a lot, so he immediately Black Shields the person who's probably going to get taunted. The rest of the people out of range, and Kaze didn't have Flash, so he couldn't taunt Flash and get more people. They ultimately managed to kill them, but yeah, the rest you managed to recap in that one. So again, another team fight. That was a 2 for 2, so it wasn't the worst. And we did get a small casher from Hanshammer. I didn't catch how much it was, but it wasn't the most in the world. Casual pops the ultimate onto Hanshammer and Pretty. This is basically the perfect ultimate from Lysandra. He will be shut down before the punish can get onto the front lines, but that is Wicked knocking out Joko from the fight. Kaze still chasing after, but he is a squishy Shen. He will stay alive very briefly. Ku looking for the hook. Masterwork will get on top and Repel comes up. He'll back away That was a Mikhail's used by Nukes a lot to keep him out of kill range. So a nice pick from Millennium.
Yeah, that was better from Millennium. And Cadril, as you alluded to, went into the backline, but didn't have a massive amount of damage. He's opted for Rod of Ages, Morellonomicon, the same thing we saw Pretty opt for when it came to his Orianna earlier. Now he's got a needlessly large run and blasting one. I think he had one of those before that fight actually kicked off. Didn't do all that much to the damage dealers. They kind of just stood there and took it, did Hans Sammer and Pretty. And what it meant was that Cadril went in. The rest of Wolves couldn't close that distance. It's a lot more difficult for them to close that gap than Cadril, as he can just go past the wall. But from there, Wolves with you know, for this series, uncharacteristic engage. Their engage has been very good up until that one.
Usually, a Lissandra ultimate in that situation is super good. Yeah. Like, you zone away the backline, you separate the front line and backline, you have this clear division, a couple seconds where they can potentially punish the front line and burst them down, or punish the backline. In terms of positioning, Copenhagen Wolves couldn't get in range because Pinoy couldn't deal the damage to the tanks because they were being threatened by Shadow Dash. And they couldn't get to the backline since they were already in the jungle. So it was unfortunate positioning. The idea was right by Copenhagen Wolves, the positioning was not.
Wolves have been conceding a lot now to Millennium the last few minutes. What looked like an almost certain game for the Wolves is slowly kind of coming back to a neutral position. It's still in favor. It's still in favor of the Wolves, but look at the space that Wolves are giving Millennium while those two TPs are down. Wolves are not really confident without being able to play both side lanes, which is the right thing. You should not really be forcing, you know, tower after tower, objective after objective if you're not confident on the map, but it is a window that's starting to open for Millennium.
What do you think about Cadril seemingly going for Death Cap over Zhonya's Hourglass? Because Zhonya's Hourglass is such a useful tool when you get like an ultimate like he did last fight and then pop Zhonya's on top of that as well. Pinoy just got hooked in, Masterwork comes out, pops the box. This is a big team fight coming through. Cadril pops his ultimate, he comes in. He'll be jumping away with the Corki. Hansammer's still alive, Pretty will go down, executed by Ku there. And Kaze will be knocked away. Hansammer doesn't really have anyone to peel from anymore. Joko is trying to tank up some damage there. Blue Wolf goes down. Masterwork is still trying to peel. Hansammer is kiting away. He picks up one kill, gets a catch in, but he can't chunk through Wicked. Kaze was trying his best to peel for him on the back lines. He'll go down.
There's a big wave mid.
5-2. Big wave mid lane. How much can they take?
They could be able... This is minimum inhibitor here. With this big wave in the middle lane, they've got 16 seconds on Pretty. Okay, they probably can't end this game. This is inhib and recall here. But the Wolves, I mean, as we said, the teleport's not being available. They had to concede some space to Millennium. And as soon as they're back up, the Wolves are able to punish in the team fight.
If Pinoy was up there, they may have been able to take Nexus turrets, but yeah, let's see the start of that fight again, because it looked good.
Good hook onto Pinoy, but again, this is a situation where it's like Pinoy manages to survive, had his Hex drink a pop, survived for a while and then ends up dying. But look at the damage he did to Pretty at the same time. He took out the primary damage dealer for Millennium, and from there, it's a Keeper's Verdict into Hansammer. Can't stay in that position. He's so squishy when it comes to his ability to survive, and also has this, you know, not the biggest of damage inputs. He survived longer than I thought he would, but certainly pushing forward is difficult there. 2-4-2, not a good scoreline, especially not on a Draven. You've had your stacks cut in half 4 times.
I mean, the mechanics from Hansammer are really good, but I said that about Kaze game 1 about his Riven, but it didn't win him the game. Like, you can be as good as you want on the champion, but if you were 2-4-2 as a snowball champion, have 2 items versus 3 on the opposing side of the AD carry, and as a tank you can't chunk through, it doesn't matter how good you are. And Masterwork getting called out will not help the cause. Kaze's in the bottom lane. There's literally no point ulting that because you won't get the channel off. They will get through that shield so fast at only level 2. Top lane push now coming in from Copenhagen Wolves, and we are rapidly getting to the point in the game where Copenhagen Wolves could clean sweep Millennium and pick up 3 wins in this best of 5 against them, and just instantly go to the finals.
I don't think they can clear this. This is another inhibitor tower going down.
Joko almost getting hit by the repel, or rather the the cocoon there. Joko going after K-Draw. Ultimate coming in there. Will be zoning them away. Hanzo are trying to put the damage down, but the double tap coming from Pinoy. He takes them out, and Pinoy will be able to chase them down. Pretty will be taken out, and Kaze is going to be dragged to masterwork, but there's no carries alive. Copenhagen Wolves, third game of this best of 5, are closing in and are looking to clean sweep Millennium. And there goes the Nexus itself. 3-0, unbelievable performance by Copenhagen Wolves, and they will lock down their finals position.
The Wolves have just booked their spot in the finals against the #1 seeded team from the regular split here in Challenger. The team that coming into everything, everybody said, this is the one that's going to make it, and the Wolves say, no, we're going to make it back to the LCS. You know, it's been a tough road over the last couple of months for the team, but man, that was a convincing performance. That was so good by the Wolves.
So good by the Wolves, poor performance by Millennium, and that resulted in 3 very quick games, very, like, honestly clean. Yes, they gave up some kills, and, like, there was some misplays, but they were always getting towers off it. Like, my mind is cast back to, like, Ku, for example, you know, dying in top lane, taking a tower for it. Like, every death, like, meant something, usually in those games. Even though we're getting, like, 2v2s, but it meant that they had more map pressure. Yes, they kind of stalled out in that last game, but play it safe. Like, you don't need to go for another push. You don't need to just walk into an inhibitor and die.
The funniest thing is Wolves had the lead from so early on. Remember, it was like 12 minutes, and they were diving under inner towers. We say stalled out. That game was 29 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like,
it's still by like 30 seconds.
Like, stalled out just into the mid game.
Yeah.
Man, that was good from the Wolves. Like, I don't think I've seen Wicked play that good in a while.
No, and I'm going to go back to what I said in Champion Select, which was, I think they should have, Millennium should have contested the Poppy more. Like, 3 games in a row of Poppy from Wicked. The best performances we've seen in regular season even have been on Poppy.
Yeah.
Like, he knows how to play the champion, he makes all the right decisions, and has a champion where if he takes a couple hits, not too bad. I'm still Poppy, I'm still going to take a lot of damage. And in that series, like, he had some great keeper's verdicts, he played around the team well, and it was all down to, like, the teleport plays. And even on that point, Cajal coming in instead of Sorin, like, there are so many different factors that came into these wins for Copenhagen Wolves, and I mean, just color me impressed. Like, I was not expecting this outcome today.
Cajal played really well as well. The TF in game 1, we then saw the Lissandra worked pretty well. Pinoy as well, game 1. Huge game on Ezreal. That game, his Lucian quadra kill ends the game 6-2 and 10. I mean, this is the experience, right? Is you got to look at it and say, like, these are the good performances from these players that have a lot of experience. Even Ku is a player that when he was on Giants, I honestly was doubting whether Ku would live up to you know, his past performances. Because we were wondering, is he going to be the Ku that everybody talked about? Well, that series right there, if you haven't seen what Ku can do to a jungler when he knows he is, in his mind, the better jungler, that's what he can do. He can outplay the entire early game. We hadn't seen that from Ku for a long time. And he shows up in the most important time for the Wolves.
And, you know, to talk about Ku as a player, Ku has traditionally been a player who chokes hard. Like, when the pressure is on, you get to these situations, and he just doesn't turn up. Today, he absolutely turned up. Completely demolished Joko in the jungle. Was all over him, as you just mentioned in those early games. Like, there was not a moment in that early game where Joko had any breathing room.
Oh, that
like,
Nidalee Rek'Sai game
was always there.
Horrible.
Like, and even the Lee's game, he was just in his jungle, and it's just like, I'm here. Like, you know I'm here because you can see me on Tremor Sense, but I'm out of kill range, so you can't do anything about it. My mid lane's pushing up as Lissandra, so you can't punish me. And it was just so exceptionally well played by pretty much everyone on that team. I think everyone pulled together and did exceptionally well in their own roles.
Really did. I'm glad we saw a lot more out of Sir Nukes different champions.
Yeah, different champion picks.
You know, we talked a lot about how his Trundle was very good. He shows up on the Morgana. Some really nice bindings. And the way they were layering it as well was binding into Cocoon, which sounds very easy, and you expect that from, like, LCS teams for sure.
Yeah.
Something we just time and time again see that challenger teams sometimes can't manage as well. It was on point this game, and every time they get a cocoon or binding, the other would follow up, and it would be exactly where it needed to be.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot because we've spoken about the praise. Like, we've been praising Copenhagen Wolves. Like, everyone did well on their team. Millennium fell apart, like, just straight up. Like, as the series just went on, we haven't really seen Millennium in, like, a best of series, or at least a best of 5 rather, and when we got into game 3, I was like, okay, they're pulling out the Draven, pulling out all the stops, and even from minute 1, like they were making like misplays, mis-setups, and it was all just going wrong. But I have to see Millennium come back in the next split, obviously, and see what they can do, because they did so well in the regular season. I was expecting just more from them in this series.
I was as well. I really was. We're going to set up for a winners interview. Get talking to some of the Copenhagen Wolves. While we do that, take a look at a couple of minutes, a couple of standout plays we saw from 3 very quick games in this series.
Yep. He's probably dead if he gets hit by anything. Tries to combo Ku, jumps out of the way with Pounce, and Pinoy's also there, binding from across the wall. Kaze should be going down here. Masterwork lands the hook onto Ku. That'll be securing his fate. Wicked into the bottom side of the fight. Nuxlot is being collapsed on by Pretty and Joko. He'll go down for the double kill over to Pretty. Masterwork and Hansam are still in pursuit of Copenhagen Wolves. Pinoy should have his E. Cajal. Does he have an out? Not really. Hook turns around from Wicked, doesn't land onto Masterwork. Hansama flashed on by Cajal. Ultimate True Shot Barrage takes him down. That'll be Joko and Masterwork now Pretty rotating in, but the double kill comes in for Pinoy. This is engaged by Kaze. That was a great spell shield by Pinoy. Behind. Wicked is looking for the collapse to come in here. He has the ultimate ready to go. The Keeper's Verdict will lock down someone. Masterwork's ultimate was so incredibly late. Now he'll flash away into his team. He'll allow Wicked to get in range. Hammer Shot comes out. Joko gets a good disengage. Fantastic ultimate out from Pretty. Good sidestep from the ultimate coming in from Wicked. But now Copenhagen Wolves should be able to run over Millennium. Double kill. Look at the bouncers from the Ricochet.
Forward? Why is he going forward? Like,
now Ku comes out. Exhaust comes in. And there's a flash. Cocoon, Venomous Bite, should be able to finish him off. He's still alive. Cajal's there for the finish off there with the Ring of Frost. Will jump away, pop the ultimate on himself. Torn flash onto Ku. But it's 2 versus 5. You just can't even pick up the kill there. This is complete collapse from Millennium.
That is no damage.
That is no bueno. Neither is this fight really for Millennium. I can't tell if this is going to swing their way. I'm going to go with no as Kaze is forced out. Wicked jumps in, looks for the Hammer Shock. He'll take him down for the kill. Joko now followed up on. Double tap from Pinoy should be enough. Flash forward by Cajal. Bloodthirsty in this top lane, but they'll pick up more kills, more towers, more objectives, more gold. This is an important pivotal fight in this game. This all comes down to how Millennium player Hamsama has been caught out. There's the Shen ultimate used on top of him to keep him alive. The double kill comes out from Pinoy, looking for a third one. This may be his second penta of the spring split. He jumps forwards onto Pretty. Double tap, the quadra kill. Meanwhile, Joko is still running away for his life. Well, welcome back, and we are now joined by Nuxlot after that incredible series. I mean, first off, how are you feeling just off the back of a clean sweep against Millennium?
Well, I'm feeling very fine. Yeah. Actually, I was more nervous when I played my first Challenger Series game.
Wow.
So I was very confident coming here.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Cool. I just wanted, like, every game, just thump them. Just, like, not just win, but just thump them.
I mean, that's what you did, apparently.
Yeah. I saw you guys very happy as well on Twitter, obviously talking about how results coming to play. So you guys didn't seem to be scared coming into a series against Millennium. Was your game plan always just have Ku be very aggressive early on against Joko?
Well, not really. Like, first game, actually, we didn't even have a plan the early game. It just happened, they made mistakes. So we got them bindings, the least cocoons, and that's just it.
Yeah, it just all kind of snowballed out from there. It was crazy. Just going back to Champion Select as well, you guys, you basically got like Poppy every single game. Do you feel like everything played into you? It felt like the first Champion Select as well was kind of, it was kind of messy. Like, what do you think about the rhythm play? Do you think they were trying to disrespect you, or what happened in Champion Selects?
Well, they banned Kalista. Actually, we wanted to ban Kalista. So they just did the job for us. And we got the picks what we needed. And that's it.
It seemed a very, very solid set of games. Very fast, enjoyable to watch as well, because watching you guys improve now over Challenger Series, do you guys feel ready and confident against Huma now next week?
Yeah, definitely. I think we can even take the lowest LCS teams.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and that's really impressive coming out of like 4th seed as well, because what happened to you between like a regular season and then playoffs? Because it was like, honestly, that was like watching a different team. Okay, sure, you have like Cajal now coming in the mid lane, like Ku now coming into the jungle, but it can't just be those 2 players coming in. Like, what changed?
Well, I actually think it mostly is the 2 players.
Yeah?
And, well, we have a nice coaching staff, so yeah. It's all about the new players, I think.
Interesting. So did you have a lot of time to practice with Casual coming in to today? Because obviously Soren was with you guys for like most of the split.
Yeah, we had like 3 or 4 days, and last days we actually didn't play so well, but still, like, we're very confident here.
Oh, well, rightfully so by the looks of those games. So we're looking forward to next week, to the finals. We want to say thank you very much for joining us for an interview. We're very quickly going to wrap up the show.
Yep.
I mean, we're running ahead of time, but it's all good. The games are done for the day.
Yeah, you made
congratulations,
it a very fast day,
man.
But thank you so much.
So we know our finalists. We know even the predictions now of our finalists. Copenhagen Wolves very confident going up against Huma. Make sure to join us again next week for that series. That's going to be on Tuesday at 1800 CET for the European Challenger Series finals. It's going to be Copenhagen Wolves taking on Huma in a really exciting series. If you missed today's games, well, you could have blinked and you'd have missed them. Head over to LoL Esports for all of the VODs, any player builds and everything else.
So tune in tonight as well at 5 PM PST or Thursday 2 AM CET for the latest episode of PTL.
Right after that, you can check out the North American Challenger Series semi-finals tonight. That's 3 AM Central European Time. Apex take on Team Liquid Academy.
Yes, indeed. And it was a very fast day thanks to this guy and the rest of his team. So thank you very much for tuning into the European Challenger Series semis. We're going to go offline for tonight. So from myself, Stress, and Sir Nukeslot, and the rest of the Challenger broadcast team, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week for the finals. Pretty comes in, gets the Thunderlord's proc. A couple more fast bombs will come out, and Joko lands a first blood into top lane onto Wicked. He goes down. Unfortunate Northless.
But TF coming in.
Joko potentially called out here. Casual, he locks in the red card. Goes full Reginald. And because of that, Masterwork will just get Joko out.
Handsama now could be in trouble. Does have his flash and has his heal.
Ku's chasing after Casual. He's looking for that gold card. The double flashes are exchanged. Nice binding from Nukeslot.
Because here comes the dive. Masterwork, ultimate available. Kaze, ult is not quite available. Quarter of the way up.
Flash W, Kaze, there's just too much CC for Nukeslot to survive. Flash knock up Panoy, will probably be under the same fate. Handsama will secure the kill with Piercing Light. Meanwhile, mid lane, Pretty in the 1-on-2. Nice double ultimate comes in, but Ku locks him out.
And Pretty's in trouble.
There's an ultimate, once again used defensively. Has to flash as the exhaust is used.
Wicked's coming in from behind.
Is following after. Clifflands catches him. This is a big team fight coming through. Casual pops his ultimate. He comes in. He'll be jumping away with the Corky. Handsama is still alive. Pretty will go down. Executed by Ku there. And Kaze will be knocked away. Handsama doesn't really have anyone to peel from anymore. Joko is trying to tank up some damage there. Blue Wolf goes down. Masterwork is still trying to peel. Handsama is kiting away. He picks up 1 kill, gets a catch in, but he can't chunk through Wicked. Kaze was trying his best to peel for him on the backlines. He'll go down. Going after Casual. Ultimate coming in there. Will be zoning them away. Handsama trying to put the damage down, but a double tap coming from Panoy. He takes them out, and Panoy will be able to chase them down. Pretty will be taken out.